What's up, interwebs? My name is Che Cantrip, and this is 300 Seconds to Clear, where I play the first hour of a game and give you my first impressions in 5 minutes or less. That being said, let's start the clock. Identity V is a 4 vs 1 survival horror game by NetEase in very much the same style as Dead by Daylight. Anyone who's played Dead by Daylight automatically knows what I'm talking about, but for those that don't, one player controls a deranged killer to hunt the other 4 players who have to run, hide, and escape. Hunters are pretty much invincible, but can be slowed down or distracted by the survivors. Hunters do have access to skills and a passive skill trait to make them more efficient at stalking down their prey, bashing them over the head, and shooting them off to their death by strapping them into a rocket chair. Survivors must decode ciphers while also avoiding the hunter. Once all of these ciphers are completed, they can unlock the gates and run to safety, but it's not all that easy. Ciphers can malfunction, and if you don't get the timed button press correct, alerting the hunter. Hunters can also listen for survivors or use other skills to ascertain their location. Hunters are also much faster than the survivors are on foot, but survivors can maneuver through obstacles much more easily. To get away, they'll have to use their knowledge of maps, pallets, jumping through windows, hiding in lockers or behind objects. If the hunter can hit you twice, you fall prone and you're pretty much helpless as he straps you in. If a teammate can't get you free in time, game over for you. Here's where it adds its own element to make it different from Dead by Daylight. The biggest thing is that Identity V is a narrative-based game. You play a detective who is charged with unraveling the mysteries of a missing girl. You explore a spooky old mansion, finding clues about what happened, Scooby-Doo style, only to find out several people came and ended up in this twisted survive or die game. Now, the fact that this game has a story is both its highlight and its biggest letdown so far. I completed the story well before I hit my first hour of gameplay, but that's not to say that the story is complete. There's an interesting twist in the story, but then the story just completely stops. After doing some research, it looks like they'll be releasing the story in a series of updates, and they're already getting new content on the Chinese version of the game. Hopefully we get these updates soon and frequently, because the story went from a run-of-the-mill detective story to pretty interesting. I'm genuinely curious about what happens next. We do still have some clues to go through though. There are several different survivors and hunters to choose from, each of which being characters in this story. The characters have a little bit of information, but not enough to replace the actual story, but as such, they do have different perks and skills. You may have noticed the very Tim Burton's Coraline style art that you see while in a match, and that it's different from the quote-unquote real world that you're searching for clues in. This is because each match is the detective's Sherlock Holmes-esque reconstruction of what happened. It's happening in his head. This allows for the game to reach a wider audience and to portray gruesome events in a cartoony way. It's a pretty creative way to get around a game that may only be suitable for adults. Don't get it twisted though, you get strapped into a rocket chair with barbed wire, and when it goes off, you don't just fly away, you're dead. Despite the cartooniness, it's still creepy. In fact, if you're the hunter, you can unlock and choose your music to make things even creepier. The bleak color palette and desolate stages, as well as the sound design, really help. It's just as anxiety-inducing to be hiding in a locker, praying that the hunter just walks by as you would expect from a horror game. On the flip side, as the hunter, you feel like an unstoppable force. If you lose, it's because you got outsmarted and you got outmaneuvered, and that seems fair. The hunters that I've encountered so far don't seem overpowered, but some hunters are better than others, and I haven't been up against the top tier ones yet. They're unlocked by playing matches and earning in-game currency. Along with unlocking hunters and survivors, you can also unlock different music, outfits, icons, frames, etc. Of course, instead of playing the game, you can just use real-world money to buy things, but there's still that element of RNG to go through. There's an element of pay-to-win in most mobile games these days, but it feels like it's shifted towards the hunters here. You can essentially just pay your way to a more dangerous hunter if you're willing to spend enough money. It is still skill-based though, so even if you get a really good hunter and just camp ciphers, you'll still get outmaneuvered and outsmarted by a good team. These games aren't normally my cup of tea, but it is good. If you liked Dead by Daylight, it's a no-brainer. It's essentially Dead by Daylight Pocket Edition. If you're new to the asymmetric survival horror genre, there are definitely some things here worth giving a shot. The cartoony style makes it more accessible to players that want a creepy game but not necessarily a gruesome one, and hopefully we get those story updates to keep the narrative-based players engaged. That's just my take on the first hour of the game though, but it's not about me, it's about you guys. Will you be giving it a shot? If you did, what did you like or dislike? Let me know down in the comments below. Also, if there are any other games you want me to take a look at, let me know. I'm a small channel, guys, so do me a favor and caress that like button a little bit for me. I'm out of time, guys. Thanks for watching.
So